Next up on the number one tee.
Well, hello and welcome to the Tea Time Podcast. I am your host, Tori, and today I'm so excited to have Dr. Sasho MacKenzie joining us, co-founder of the Stack System, here to fill us in on the system I have been absolutely obsessed with for the past, probably 2.5 months now.
Awesome.
Thanks for being on today.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. Yeah, happy to chat and answer your questions.
We did a distance series on the podcast this summer, and the women, the listeners, loved it. Could be my most listened to episodes. It was a 4-part series. And we started out with Lou Stagner, who expressed how important it was to gain distance on a stats side of it. And he also went into speed training. And that was kind of my first deep dive into what it takes to gain more distance. And he highly suggested the Stack System. And I was like, okay, all right. And I was busy this summer, so I wasn't ready to kind of dive into it then. And then we had the Andrew Hannon on, who also raved about the Stack System. And of course, there's other options out there, but the Stack System kept coming up. So I'm like, okay, see what all the fuss is about. And I have to say, it immediately grabbed my attention. It's been fantastic. So I'd love to hear from you on how this all got started.
I have many versions of the story that I could tell. So I'll read your reaction and I'll accelerate or slow down depending on your level of engagement, Tori. How does that sound?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
I have some different backgrounds. One of my backgrounds is golf. I did my PhD thesis on customizing shaft stiffness to a golfer's swing and got connected with Ping and started doing golf instructor education, working with tour players. But I was also a track and field athlete and track and field coach. I coached track for 10 years, developing strength and conditioning programs. You know, track and field is nice and simple. Throw further, jump higher, run faster. In track, it's very common to have overload and overspeed parts of a workout. So in sprinting, you would maybe tow a sled to do overload, or you would get pulled by someone in a bungee cord, as an example, to do overspeed. Track and field is certainly leading the way in science over the decades. Most of the good research that's been done has been on track and field athletes, probably because the objectives are so simple. I looked at golf and I realized that the principles used to increase clubhead speed, to train increased clubhead speed, weren't at the same level of development as with track and field. So I thought, hey, let's apply these principles that I learned in track and field, which are quite scientific, to golf. And there were options out there for doing speed training, but I wanted to take a little more research, more scientific approach. So understanding exactly if you're trying to increase your driver speed, what are the loads that you need to apply to the driver? What are the speeds that you need to apply? Fine-tuning the exact stimuluses you need. How much faster should you swing to get an overspeed effect? How much heavier should the implement be in order to get an overload effect? Did a series of studies starting about 8 or 9 years ago now, looking at simply how much weight is too heavy, how much weight is too light, where the speed increases start to get less. Eventually kind of come up with a pretty good program that I would use with first tour player I worked with was Padraig Harrington. And it was, taking lead tape. This was back in 2016. We met at TPI. It was the first kind of version of a stack training program, but we were using lead tape around, a naked driver shaft to try and get the weights right. And at that time, the volume was maybe a bit higher than it should be. Then I started to see, improvements among the tour players I was working with. I thought this could be a commercial product. I had actually, I think you've met Marty Jertson. You're familiar with Marty Jertson. He's a VP of Innovation and Fitting at Ping. He was struggling for distance. He was an amazing player. I think he's played in 5 majors at this point, maybe. Made the cut at Bethpage Black the last time it was there, but he needed a bit more distance. Fast for the average 40-year-old, but not for a tour player. Kind of ran him through the stack training, and he got crazy fast and said, hey, yeah, let's partner and make this a product. Big difference is the research from what else is out there. We've got a really good, solid foundation of research. The club has way more weight settings. So it's just a single piece of hardware, but there's 30 different options for changing the weights based on 5 little weights you can flip on and off. Big game changer was the app. So I wanted it to be like a personal trainer was reviewing your results after every workout, coming up with your next workout, motivating you during the workout, saying, okay, Tori, your fastest with 125 grams was 93 last day. Let's see if we can get 94. And when you get it, it cheers for you, good job. And then after you're done the program, we reevaluate and decide what your next program should be. And your next program's developed and you go through it. That's really what kind of sets the system apart, I think. The intricacies of all the research, the variability of the hardware, and then that personal trainer like app in the palm of your hand.
The software is incredible, and you explained it perfectly, that it keeps us engaged in the program. It not only grabs our attention right away, but it keeps us engaged. I like to do the workouts on the range. I don't know why, it just feels right to me. Doing it in my house just doesn't feel right. So I go to the range and do it. And I find myself, opening up the app and I'm like, okay, what's going to go on today? And like you said, it does give you praise when you do break a record on a certain weight. It does keep you engaged. It's fascinating. So with the software, since that is really what sets it apart, how long did that take to build and what did that process look like? I'm sure there is a lot of...
The philosophy that's fundamentally different than other devices is we're not just about a percentage of weight, heavier or lower. We want to target a percentage of the load experienced by the athlete in terms of the forces applied to the grip and the speeds that they're swinging it. So there's a lot of research that has gone into, if you add 20 grams on the end of the stack, well, that doesn't mean the load is 20 grams heavier. You might experience an extra 12 pounds of force at the grip, just by, a tiny little bit of change in weight. So I'm sitting in my lab here right now. That had to be all calibrated and resolved and figured out. And also the length of the stack, we went through lots of iterations. We started with driver length, but actually in order to better hit the speeds and loadings we wanted, and also to promote people to swing it like their driver. This sounds ironic. It's shorter. It's about hybrid length. So how does that help you swing it like your driver? Well, the original models, which were driver length, oftentimes folks, when they swung it like their driver, would stick it in the ground. We don't want that. We want people to be able to swing freely, but swing like their driver. So if you take that, 3 inches off, then that allows you to swing it about on the same plane as your driver, but about 4 inches above the ground. So many iterations of that research. And then the initial programming was done in Excel. So when I'd work with a tour player, for example, Matt Fitzpatrick, before the app came out, I would send him the workout in Excel. So he would look, okay, I got to do, my first sets with 240 grams and I got to take 8 swings and this much rest. And the next set is this. And then he'd send, we were in Google Docs. And so then I'd see his workout and I would plug in the equations and kind of your next workout should be these weights. Bringing the app in allows the app to take all those algorithms that I developed and just do it automatically. It was quite an iterative process. And then also taking the research that was done. And now that we've got over 25,000 users, every time someone goes through the program, the programming gets better. So we know that person's age, we know that person's driver length, we know the speed they started at, we know their handicap. We can see the program that they've completed and we can see the effect that had an increase in their clubhead speed. And we can set up little experiments in the app that, allows us to compare large groups of people. 200 people did this program, 200 people did that program, which was better. So the app is kind of in this infinity loop of progress where the more users we get, the better the programming becomes. The more confident we become that the program you're being recommended is best for Tori.
It really is an individualized program based on, how would you call that first workout that you do? You have a special name for it.
Yeah, we call it a baseline session.
Okay, baseline session.
Yeah, it's like where you're starting. We want to know what you're swinging your driver at now. So the first 10 swings, you go through a warm-up. The app has a built-in warm-up, which I'm very proud of. A lot of people like. I use it before I play golf. Most people actually use it before they play golf now after they've started doing stack stuff. So you're fully warmed up. You take 10 driver swings, and that's kind of like, okay, this is where we're at right now with our driver. This is a baseline. That's important for motivational reasons, but also for our algorithms to make sure that we're, we want to know how fast you've gotten at the end of the program. So that allows us to recommend the next program. And then we have you swing specially selected weights to get what we call a force velocity profile. So we have you swing weights that are slightly heavier than your driver, slightly lighter than your driver. We can tell whether your speed training should have a greater emphasis on overload or a greater emphasis on overspeed based on that initial baseline test. And you go through the training program. A lot of times folks will say that, they're like, hey, I'm interested in getting a stack. Can you send me what the program looks like? Well, the program is just a bunch of algorithms and philosophies. I can't tell you what workout you will be I can tell you you're going to be doing a workout next Thursday, but I don't know what it looks like because that depends on the preceding workouts. Just like if you go into the gym, I'm sure many of your listeners have lifted weights of some kind, they've had a trainer, and the trainer wants you doing 10 repetitions and feeling very tired at the end of the 10 repetitions. You grab the 20s and you can do 10. And a couple of workouts, you grab 20 pounds and you do 10 repetitions, you think, hey, I could probably do 2 or 3 more. The app can see how fast you're swinging each of these weights. So it will say, wait a second, this person's adapting. We need to modify the weights they're swinging based on this philosophy for this program. Every program has its own set of algorithms to determine what your next workout should be. So you might have 2 friends, you and a friend of yours, a golfing friend, get recommended the exact same program. Your baselines look identical, but within 2 or 3 workouts, your workouts are different. Yeah, we're trying to, as they should be. If you had a personal trainer, you and your friend, Marjorie, would have different workouts as you went along, depending on if your triceps got stronger or your bench press got stronger, but her, pull downs got stronger. You would each adapt individually.
The exact reason why it keeps you engaged, and you just wonder, okay, what's the next workout going to be like? And it's not, I find that these workouts are about 15 minutes long. Would you agree with that? Yeah. So it's like easy. It's nothing that you dread by any means, or that it's like a weight on your shoulder to execute, every couple of days. It's very palatable. So can you please clear up? Because when I thought about speed training, I was thinking that you have this program that you're doing, you're swinging as hard as you can, and then it translates onto the golf course, but you're going out to the golf course and swinging as hard as you can too. Like that's what I initially thought. So can you explain to us exactly how the process works and how that transition is from workout to golf course?
Sure. That you bring up a great question. I think that's historically been a fundamental misunderstanding of chasing speed. Most tour players have come to that realization that I'm going to explain in a second. Previously, there was 3 years ago, Rory kind of came out when Bryson really made this big jump. And he said, I tried chasing the speed thing. It doesn't work for me. The key is understanding you're not swinging as hard as you can on the course. The objective is to increase your maximum speed so that, ironically, you can swing at a lower percentage of effort on the course and still have a higher clubhead speed. So I use Bryson DeChambeau as an example. You think back to when he was on the PGA Tour and we had all of his information, okay? And he would have, I'm going to throw out some numbers, maybe your listeners are used to or not, but Bryson would be around 190 miles per hour ball speed when he was really playing fast, right? And that's the number. He was had the fastest ball speed that year in the PGA Tour. And you would see someone like Rory down around 183, 184. Maybe Rory says, right, well, I'm going to start chasing Bryson. I can swing and get my ball speed up to 190, but you have to realize that when Bryson was playing at 190, what was his maximum ball speed? And we have some great data because he competed in all the world long drive competitions, albeit with slightly altered equipment. But when he went to the world long drive that same year, that the Ryder Cup where he drove par 4 on Sunday, the opening tee shot, number 1, and hit this massive tee shot on a par 5 and had 100 yards into the green. That season, he competed in the long drive and his ball speeds were about 218 miles per hour. We'll even take him down to 210 with PGA Tour equipment, which is being conservative. Well, for him, 190 ball speed, if his maximum is 210, he's working at 90% of his maximum. So he's able to swing and have a ball speed at 190, but it's nowhere near his maximum. Whereas if Rory's maximum is 195 ball speed, and he tries to play at 190, then he's probably not going to be very accurate. I'll throw some other numbers out there. If your current maximum clubhead speed is 100 and you're playing at 95, okay, and that's your on-course speed. But if I say, hey, Tori, swing as hard as you can, and you can swing at 100, and you're playing at 95, you're playing at 95% of your maximum. If you increase your maximum using the stack system up to 110, and you go out in the course and you increase your on-course speed from 95 to 100, that's 5. That's a big change on the course. Going from 95 to 100, I would expect you to actually hit it straighter, get tighter, because now 100 relative to 110 is only, 90%. So you've actually decreased your percent of max effort on the course. It feels like you're swinging easier. It feels like you're swinging more control. but in absolute terms, you're actually swinging faster. That's a big difference, is that we want to increase our capacity so that we can actually swing with a lower percentage effort on the course. That's a big concept to understand.
When I know that going out to the golf course, it almost makes me feel better. It's like, okay, I'm doing my work off the golf course, and on the golf course, it will just happen gradually. It's not something that you're really trying hard to do on the golf course. I mean, we're trying so hard to begin with golf. We don't want to add another layer to it. So it makes you just trust the process a little bit more. What kind of reasonable expectations can a user have going into working the stack system?
Sure. That's a great question. So we've got over 25,000 folks using the system now. So I'll throw out some numbers. Some might appeal to some listeners, some to others. We keep a track of our top 5,000 stackers. Based on, so we go, okay, who's got the best grit score? That's how well you're adhering to the program. So if you do a workout every 3 weeks, you're not going to make it into this pool of our best stackers. You just have to adhere to the program. And as you mentioned, 15-minute workouts every couple of days. It's not particularly taxing. So right now, our top 5,000 have gained on average 12 miles per hour. That's with the driver from when they first started. It would be typical if you completed a 6-week program. Our foundation program is usually what most stackers get recommended first, to gain between 6 and 10 miles per hour. So there's a 95% chance that your gains after 6 weeks will be between 6 and 10. There are cases, about 0.5% of the users during that initial program gain less than 3 miles per hour. So 1 out of every 200. The issue with that, when the program transitions, so the first program, it eases you in. You're just swinging, kind of about the same as you'd swing on a course, right? We're changing the weight, so the stimulus is different. But about halfway through, we start asking you to start swinging with maximum 10, which is harder than you would swing on the course. And a lot of folks, a lot of those 0.5% don't make that transition. They kind of stay in this very conservative bubble mindset. They're not then getting the stimulus necessary to improve their maximum. But that's a low percentage that gain less than 3 miles per hour. Most of the time, I can interact with those folks and give them a hand at breaking through that plateau.
Okay, 2 questions for you. How does miles per hour translate to yards, though? Because you keep referring to miles per hour. Well, I don't know
sure.
how much extra yards that is.
Yeah. In general, you can think of it as about 3 for someone who swings pretty slow. So if you're swinging around, if you go from 80 miles per hour to 85, that's 5 miles per hour increase. You'll probably gain 15 yards. As we get faster, so if you go from swinging, 130 to 135, then it gets down closer to, maybe 2.5, 2.6 yards per every mile per hour. So somewhere between 2.5 and 3 for the majority of people.
The users that get stuck making that transition from really maximum swings, do you think that they need to incorporate more a personal trainer or someone to really start igniting those fast twitch muscles? Is that the issue there?
It's mostly certainly having someone filming yourself, I think, helps a lot. Take a look at how you're swinging, and then look at even folks like Scotty Scheffler on the PGA Tour, and kind of, look at your swing, look at Scotty Scheffler's swing, who's number 1 in strokes gained tee to green. It's not a bad model for someone to hit fairways. And you go, I've done this a lot with mini tour golfers that I work with who struggle with, really letting go in stack training. And they'll look at their swing that feels out of control to them, and they have this perfectly balanced finish and everything looks nice and tight. And then I'm like, this is Scotty Scheffler's playing for $4 million, and he has way more effort than you do. Or Victor Hovland's another guy, So that sometimes it's just a matter of looking what feels wild and out of control. You're like, that's not what I thought I would look like. If you're never, ever losing balance for those max effort swings, if you're never doing a Scotty Scheffler dance to kind of, then you're probably not pushing it quite enough. Oftentimes there are things like folks have a death grip on the club. They never want to feel like they're releasing in the swing, and don't like to, lift the lead heel a little bit. They don't like to loosen up and try to get their hands as high as they can in the backswing. They've worked themselves into a situation where their main goal is just never miss a fairway. Just got these fairway finders. So it's okay to kind of relax and let loose and chase some speed in training. There doesn't have to be negative transfer. So you brought up having a trainer or someone with you. For the majority of golfers that I work with, including my son or Matt Fitzpatrick, and everybody in between, I like to use the stack as a way to reinforce positive swing mechanics, but just with a little more effort. It could be that in your real driver swing, you struggle getting onto your left side, you struggle getting onto your lead side, you kind of pivot around your trail foot only. That's a great thing to work on with the stack. But maybe you do a few Gary Player swings, making sure you're getting through the shot. It doesn't even have to be a speed related thing. Lots of folks struggle with a slice because they come over the top. Well, in my lab, when I would have participants in here doing those studies years ago, we use a flight scope. When you do speed training, also reports your swing direction. And a lot of these golfers would be slicers. You can see the swing direction would be, way to the left. And I'd say, hey, well, my lab door is over in this direction, out to the right. And I would say, swing this out the lab door. And so while they're working on swinging as fast as they can also say, well, I want the club to be feeling like it's going in to out through the impact area.
Yeah.
And a lot of these golfers, after 6 weeks of speed training, started playing a draw or the ability to play a draw. Or it could be even something as subtle as if you go to your instructor and they're like, Tori, your grip is really weak. The thumb of your bottom hand right on the shaft. Well, that can be uncomfortable to work with all the time when hitting balls. But if you're not making contact with the ball, hey, check your grip. Make sure your grip is the way you want it. Probably feels uncomfortable at first when you're hitting golf balls. So get all these reps in working on, this grip that your golf instructor wants you to work on, or your posture at setup, or getting into a certain position at the top. But you can just do all these things with elevated effort.
Just speaking from my own experience, when I was trying to, break some records, go to the next level while I'm doing the training, I was thinking the only way I'm going to do this is if I get my lower body working into it. So yes. I'm a flipper. I got a lot of this going on in my swing, and so I'm really trying to use my big muscles in my golf swing right now. That's what I'm really working on. And it was the same concept with the stack system. It was like, if I don't get my hips, my legs, my butt into this, there's no way I'm going to take it to the next speed level whatsoever.
And it's not a coincidence that what we consider to be the best swings on tour also happen to be some of the fastest. Rory McIlroy, amazing golf swing, also happens to be one of the fastest. Victor Hovland. Usually the mechanics that produce high speed are also very repeatable.
I am a huge Victor Hovland fan. So since he's a ping guy, do you interact with him a lot? Do you have any insight to Victor? I mean, anything?
Yeah. I know Victor well. He's used the stack. I'm good friends with Joseph Mayo, so I've helped a bit with some of the. You see the Joe's on a bit of a 15-yard pitch path right now. He's beating that drum. So I've helped with some of that analysis.
Talking about demographics and level of golfer, do you see the stack system for everyone, or is it really for a specific segment of people that are trying to improve their game? Or are we talking beginner golfers, junior golfers, older golfers?
It's for any golfer that actually wants to improve and has a bit of time to practice. So if you're in a stage of your life where you play on Saturday and that's it, that's fine. You can still enjoy golf. The stack system's not for you. If you go, okay, I've got at least 2 hours a week where I devote to some type of golf practice, whether I go to the range or I spend some time in the putting green. If that's you want to get better at golf and you have a couple of hours outside your, I play 18 holes once and 9 holes, that's it. Not for you. But if you got some time I show up, maybe I stay an hour after I play, or I've got a half hour here or there, or I hit the range after work every once in a while, the stack is definitely for you. If you are in a cold climate environment, when there's a lot of those in North America, then to me, the stack is, a must-have. Find a place in your garage. If you can find, some type of dance studio or in your gym or something where you can do this type of training. I'm from Canada, live in Nova Scotia, and I get a little bit of stack training done during the summer. But that's when we have to make hay. I do a lot of stuff with my kids. I want to play golf. still practice a bit, but speed training kind of takes a bit of a backseat in the summer. But, when the courses close, that's when I can get a lot of work done, and I'll get 2 or 3 stack programs done over the winter, and try to build up a capacity and hang on during our golfing season.
Okay, so just out of curiosity though, what is the percentage? You said 25,000 users. What's the percentage of women that are doing it? Because we want to up that number, because I'm sure it's lower.
It is lower. It's definitely lower. I would have to check. The last time I checked, I think we had about 1,600 out of those 25,000 were female. Arguably, those are some of our users that have seen the most transformative changes to their game. Not to stereotype, but there's, certain populations have certain tendencies. And it seems like a lot of female stackers, female golfers in general, could use a bit of aggression, could benefit from that. And the ones that learn that it's okay to swing hard in training can really see some big improvements. I've worked with a few that hit 85% of the fairways. That's too many fairways. What it says is that you're not optimizing your strokes gained off the tee. It's a combination of distance and accuracy. But if you're hitting all your fairways, and also I work with some former tour players who are older now in their 60s, never miss a fairway. Clubhead speed's 92 miles an hour. So it's not just females, but this is kind of a question about, I don't want to miss fairways. But if you hit all of them, you're not optimizing that. You need to be missing some fairways because you're trying to go for a little bit of distance. 200 yards off the tee in the fairway every time is not as good as 250 off the tee missing 2 fairways. Overall, your strokes gained will be better. So that's just a red flag. It's just, you're probably not hitting it far enough if you're not missing any fairways. So that applies to, a couple of groups, but certainly females tend to really fall into that camp. I'm not sure where you would fall into, Tori, but.
Well, that gets me excited though, because I know the majority of my listeners love golf and they love to improve their game. And they're just not aware of the stat system. They're not aware of this out there and that it's so user-friendly and that you can see results that will significantly improve your game. I mean, that's just a matter of, when you get more distance, your game. I'm so excited that you're here with us today. Let's finish it up with the putting system. Okay.
Yeah.
I am yet to try out the stack system putting system. So can you explain what it is and tell me why I need it? Because I'm sure it's coming down the line where I'm going to start soon.
Well, I think it's better than the speed training.
Speed golf is all about the putter and the driver. So I'm all in. You know that.
Yeah, just putt for dough and drive for dough. That's our motto at the Stack System. Both Marty and I are about, optimizing golf performance. The speed training part of it was a way that clearly helps a lot of golfers, but, was also had a clear business model. And it's nice now that we, we're up and running and things are going well. And now, I feel like I can start focusing on other areas that maybe not the best business model, but can really help golfers the most. And if I look around, putting is an area where people do not practice it effectively or efficiently. I approach it from a biomechanics perspective about what matters in terms of hitting a putt. I see people really trying to hone in on their stroke path. They'll put up 2 gates. Here are things that usually you see people in the putting green that just randomly stroll around hitting random putts, or they'll hit the same 8-footer 10 times in a row. And then maybe the folks that seem to get into stuff, they'll set up a gate and make sure that their stroke is very consistent, or make sure that they're hitting the ball at the center of the putter face. And none of that stuff is really going to make you a better putter. You could have, your stroke could be all over the place, doesn't matter. You could hit the ball all over the face with the putter relative to what those variabilities are for real golfers. It just doesn't matter. Now, face angle matters a lot. Speed matters even more than face angle. So your ability to deliver the putter with the correct speed, and green reading is massive. If you really want to work on your speed control and your green reading, you have to see a variety of putts during your practice session. And that's what stack putting does. Stack putting, there's 3 modes. The flagship mode we have is called Premier. You go into the app, you're like, right, let's do this stack putting session. You just need to find a green that has some slope, and so you can hit about a 30-foot putt. And then the app will say, all right, hole 1, 10 feet uphill left to right. So you look around the putting green. There could be other people out there. You just have to pick any hole where it's 10 feet uphill left to right. Drop the ball down, hit your putt, and then there's this really easy interface where you can enter why you missed. Oh, I hit it too fast. I launched it too far left. Maybe you hit it too fast and launched it too far left. So it's this really easy interface to tap. You enter whether you misread the putt, or if you sink it, you just tap made. And then the app will say, hole 2, 20 feet, downhill left to right. So you go find that 20-footer downhill left to right. You know, it could be a different hole, could be the same hole you putted to. So it guides you through these 18 holes, and it's the 18 holes are specific to maximize performance improvement in the areas that differentiate good putters from bad putters. Working on 3-footers doesn't matter. You can't determine if you the best putter in the PGA Tour or, you know, an average putter at your course. 3-footers aren't going to separate you. Neither are 30-footers for the most part. But putts between 4 feet and 10 feet, those are the ones that show the biggest difference. That's where you're going to say, okay, you're a good putter, you're a bad putter. So it makes sense that improving at those distances, practicing those distances, will make you a better putter. And this is from research by Mark Brody. There's so many things to stack putting. So then after you're done, you do a few sessions, the app is tracking all your misreasons, all your misreads, and then the insights you can get from it are amazing. So at the end of that first session, it's 18 holes, it will tell you if you have a speed bias. Are you tending to leave your putts short? Are you hitting them too hard? A direction bias. And then the more sessions you do, we can track that over time. And we've got some amazing results where we also track your strokes gained. And for every hole, you can see, hey, what is the expected number of putts for a PGA Tour player from this distance? Or in the app, you can pick any handicap from tour player all the way up to 30. And we'll tell you what the expected make rate is for this putt, or the expected number of putts to hole out. The insights that you can gain are awesome. It tells you whether, you know, are you bad at reading left to right putts? Do you tend to leave downhill putts short? So you can start to then go in and be like, oh, my putting's bad, and this is what I need to work on. Yeah. And we have got so many individuals where we can see their strokes gained over time, just absolutely improving, because they'll reduce their direction bias, and we can see that graph, and then you can see their strokes gain going up. That's Premier. Then we had users when we were in beta testing, like, I'd love to be able to do this on the course. So we have a bunch of tour players now entering this information after the round or during the round on the course. So they go out, you hit the green, mimics the Premier version in a way, but you hit the green, and you can do this after the round, but if you're a caddy and all you're doing is carrying a bag, it's pretty easy to do during the round, right after the ball. So you go, okay, how long's the first putt? It was 30 feet, and you know what the break is, because, you know, after they hit the putt, you're like, oh yeah, that was, you know, downhill left to right, set the break, and then you do the same thing as you did with Premier. You explain, was it a misread? How did they miss, or why did they miss? What was the distance of the remaining putt? So you get all of this on-course information as well. The difference between Premier and on-course is that in on-course, you tell it the putt you had to hit. We also have the ability to enter the grade. So for the aim point users, you can say, oh, this one was a 3% grade or a 1.5% grade. Then we also have, I'm from Canada, and I can't find a 30-foot green inside that has varying slope, but I've got a one in here that's...
In the middle of the winter.
Right. I've got one that's 10 feet by 20 feet. So we've got a creative tab, and it allows you, this was actually designed after having a lot of conversations with Matt Fitzpatrick. He has all these putting drills that he likes to do. And they're not just like stack putting, I think is the best drill you can do, but what if you want to work on your lag putting? What if you specifically want to work on some type of speed control on left to righters? Well, with creative, you can create the exact practice session you want. You can say, okay, I'm going to have 5 holes, 2 attempts per hole, number of rounds that you try every hole. You can go in and set the specific parameters for every one of the holes. And then once you set up the combine, then you play it, and it behaves like Premier, where it says, hole 1. And you just go through and you enter the information, you track it. You can also share that. So as a coach, you can create this combine, and then just hit a share button. It can go to however many stackers you want. They can upload it into their app with a couple of taps, And then you can track their performance over time. I'm really excited about it because it's a really awesome feature of the app. It's kind of like it's just a little add-on, just an icon you can tap in the speed train, but really it's so much more than that. The impetus for this, if you remember a few years ago, Xander Schauffele switched to the arm lock putting. This was a couple of years ago. He was a good putter. I think he was 19th in strokes gained putting at that point in the season. But he said, hey, we've been testing out, these different techniques, and the arm lock's better. You know what I'm talking about, where they have the putter that kind of just goes up the forearm. He proceeded to do this towards the end of the season. Strokes gained putting on the course got worse and worse and worse. He switched back. You shouldn't guess at this. So no matter whether you're doing Premier, on-course, or creative, before you go in, you just enter a few tags. And the tags are, what's your technique? So maybe you're using arm lock versus normal, right? If you want to compare that. So, okay, this session I'm using arm lock. You enter the green speed, you enter the type of putter you're using, and then any other variable you want. So you could put in there, well, I'm using sunglasses today. So then the next time you go to putt, you could decide, well, I'm going to try my normal technique instead of arm lock. Or maybe you're going to take the sunglasses off. Maybe you're going to use a line in the ball, not a line in the ball. So you just it takes 2 seconds to enter this information, you do your session. And then after 5 or 6 sessions each way, you can say, hey, I wonder which way I actually putt better. We've got this built-in statistical analysis where it's really, you just go statistical comparison. In the drop-down, you can select, okay, I want to compare this putter to that putter. Shows you the stats, tells you whether there's a significant difference. Xander had this. He could have done it in his practice rounds on the course. He could have done these stack sessions. He could have created his own drills. And the app would have told him which technique was better.
That's actually fantastic, because I go back and forth between the claw grip and a regular grip. I want to go back to a regular grip, but I just don't have the confidence behind it. So if I can probably see the stats and see the practice sessions behind it.
We just had a user post on Twitter, or X, I should say, whether they should do a forward press before they take the putter back. And they're like, they like it because it's a trigger, but they're like, I got this feeling that I'm not putting better. It's so tough to track, keep track of everything in your head. You don't really write it down in paper. So that's all he did. He's like, okay, today's a forward press day. Boom. The results gave him his answer. He's like, I had an intuitive thought, but my intuition was wrong. He's like, the hard data is right there.
Well, you have invigorated me again with the putting system, but this is, again, why I'm so passionate about the stack system, because it seemed like extra motivation to get out there. Just the extra push I needed. It's like, it's a very encouraging program, and it keeps you engaged. And just you talking about the putting system, it's like, well, I need to go try this. I need to embrace this, So I encourage all the listeners to try it out. It is an amazing program. And by listening to this episode, you clearly see why. Thank you so much for being on today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So all the information on the stack system is in the show notes. If you're ever in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, let's do something in person to show off the system. And
okay, great.
Great.
Thank you.